Welcome to the Planet Paintball podcast, the ultimate podcast for paintball enthusiasts. Each week, we dive into the world of paintball, bringing you stories, insights, and tips from players, coaches, and industry insiders. Sponsored by 1023 Sportswear. Looking for high-quality gear that performs as hard as you do? Check out 1023 Sportswear. And as a listener of the Planet Paintball podcast, you can get 20% off your order with the code Planet Paintball. Suit up, save big, and play your best.
Welcome back to the Planet Paintball podcast. As always, give us a like and subscribe or a rating on Spotify and Apple Music. The show is brought to you by 1023 Sportswear for your custom sportswear apparel. Go check out their brand new website at 1023.com. That is 10TEN numbers 23.com. And Southwest Paintball in Bayfield, Colorado. If you are in the Bayfield, Colorado area, go check out John and his field in Southwest Paintball. Okay. Today, morning broadcast, I got Norris with me. What's going on, Norris? Returning guy?
Yep. I just got off work this morning, worked last night at the hospital, and then got my bags packed. I'm heading to little Corey's wedding. I'm in the wedding tomorrow. So.
That's awesome. How far is that a drive?
3 hours. It's about 3 hours. He lives in Harrisburg, North Carolina, but I think the wedding's in Shelby, North Carolina. A place called the Gingerbread House.
All right.
A little weird.
Yeah. Well, there's all those little weird spots up in North Carolina. And you've had a lot going on since we last talked. So
yeah.
Why don't we start with AC, man? Let's.
Thank God. I just knew you were going to say Tampa. I wanted to avoid that.
Yeah, Tampa. One of the teams made it out of the onto Sunday, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So that was a team I coached, and it imploded on Sunday. Believe it or not. AC was a fun event. It was supposed to be something temporary and one-off, but that had the potential of staying together. Tropic Thunder was they've been playing D2. They haven't been that successful because the organization wasn't there. So my three friends on Tropic Thunder are Eli, James, and Nick, and they decided that for this event at AC, like bringing me on as a coach, they would get better results or whatever. But I think there was a lot of inner things going on that they still didn't quite work out for AC. So like we had a great practice weekend for layout drop, but we didn't have any team meetings during then. We didn't have any team meetings at AC. And so it was a vibe, but a lot of those boys had like already, the writing was on the wall for them, right? They figured it was their last event. Some of them already had new homes lined up. So that's just where it stood. It was just a one-time thing. They only went 1-3. I guess that is better than the record. They were 0-4 last event, but we could have done a lot better. The first match was against Trenton Bang. We were up by 3. We had 9 minutes left on the clock. I told them multiple times as they were going out, I'm like, look, there's too much time on the clock. We're going to lose the momentum. Like y'all, we're talking, we're hype, we're talking shit. They're going to push it back on us, and we ended up losing the match 6-5. So we had, I want to say, like 7 penalties that match. We had 3 and 1 point. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's y'all lost your mind there.
Yeah.
The Trent Bang guys just merged with a Cali team, right?
I have no idea, but like they seem to be. You know what? I'm tired of just hiding stuff. So they're decent guys or whatever, but a lot of them just they have a poor background, right? They're scammers. They rob people. It took a lot in me to lose to them when we were up, and then go shake their hands because one of those members on that team literally owes me $1,800 from robbing me.
Wow.
So it was something I was not happy doing, shaking their hands after getting whooped by them, knowing that it's just a shaky situation.
Yeah. Well, and that's something that's not talked about in the community a lot is the scamming that goes on.
Right. And the crazy stuff. And then I guess right after AC, they're putting up all kinds of posts on how all of them, like a couple of them got robbed. And I said, that's kind of ironic. And to be honest, I was like, if y'all didn't notice anyone taking your stuff, I would just look at some of your own players before I make posts about the rest of NXL. But it is what it is. I'm sure that's not going to go over well. But I have there's people on Tropic who no longer have a PayPal account because they got scammed by one of those dudes.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? It's just bullshit.
Well, and a couple of guns went missing
Yeah,
during AC.
from them, which is weird. And I don't feel like anyone's going to rob some of them because some of them are known for carrying real guns and being those type of dudes to pull it on you. So I don't think anyone would be stupid enough to rob them.
Well, and I know Bear Ridge. Oh my gosh, Bear Ridge had a gun go walking away.
That
Brand
sucks
new.
because those are good guys.
In the case, so
that's wild.
But that's it's the most guns I've heard about going missing at an event in a while.
And that's kind of NXL's fault too. I mean, dog, you don't paintball is a first of all, it's Atlantic City. Second of all, we're known for drinking at the event. You give a whole bunch of degenerates a spot to gather up, and then you take their alcohol away. Of course, all this stuff was going to happen. This video from Marcelo and everything else, everyone has nothing better to do than just be on the internet, causing drama, looking over everything. Yeah, it was. And it was dusty. I hated that actually venue this year. It was terrible.
Okay. Yeah, I saw a lot of complaints about it.
I couldn't breathe.
No, you couldn't breathe or it was too muddy.
You needed a dust mask, bro. That's how bad it was.
And it wasn't like that the year before?
No, I don't remember it being like that, or I'd have been like, no chance. I don't remember it being like that.
Because it was the same venue, right?
Yes, it was a
different time of year.
And I thought it was dope last year, right?
Yeah.
But and I had my cooler cart there last year too, didn't I? Yeah, I did. I was riding around there, so.
Oh, you got it up for sale, man. Hate to see that go. It's definitely a fun toy. So, that kind of, I guess, encompasses AC. Had a lot of moves since then. You want to get into the new spot?
Sure. So Don from Filthy, Don Colomesta, hit me up, which I was shocked. We talk a lot about paintball, and he sees something in me, which I'm very appreciative of. But he said he needed help with his coaching staff, and he said he would like to bring me on, but he said he wanted to do it in a way that his camp would buy in and embrace me so I could be myself and be accepted, which was awesome. He doesn't give himself enough credit. He does actually know how to read people. He just doesn't like dealing with them much, but at least he knows that. So their D3 line won Tampa, their D4 line won AC. So in my mind, I'm like, bro, you already got a winning formula. Bringing me in the mix, I don't know. And I even told him, I was like, I don't know if that's the right move. He's like, no. I think it would be a good fit. I think we need it. There's been some things going on. So he flew me out. I got to meet some of the guys on the D3 line. Two of them were missing, a guy named Brian and a guy named Q. So I'm excited to still get to meet them. But it was a vibe. It was a nice time. It was only a day, but it was a very eventful day. I got Wrecking Crew was around. So Stevie was there and Splitty was there, and learning from Splitty and what he learned and picked up from Marcelo, because Marcelo is a good big mentor to him. Their way of playing and their style of controlling the field is very unique, I would say. I've been around a lot of pros, and their philosophy is a little different, but I like it. I'm excited to learn from it. Like I told those guys, though, I'm just a gear in the machine. I'm not here to change nothing. I'm not here to reinvent it. I'm here to be a part of what they already have and sharpen it and lead the same direction they are. So I'm excited.
Nice. So you'll be flying up to Jersey
on
the regular now?
Yeah, and they practice a lot. So it's going to be at least 2-3 times a month, I'm sure. So I already had to tell my boss at the hospital that things might be changing drastically here soon.
Okay. Well, all for the good thing, new doors and whatnot.
Yeah.
The gun that Outlaw did for you. I'm assuming it was Outlaw.
Absolutely. Sick. So I assume I will still have some type of home at Outlaw. I'm not 100% sure. All this is literally happened within this last 5 to 6 days. So it's been crazy. I haven't got a chance to actually really talk to Phil about what's been going on. I've been dealing with a lot of stuff in my personal life, actually. and he was downsizing the shop. Like he's building a new line at his house, and he's going to focus on just paintball. So
Okay.
their work is about to be impeccable here soon enough. The huge warehouse they had and them dealing with the actual gun business, they cut back on all that, and they're just focused on paintball. But the idea was for those guns, they were Nike Off-White guns. And so with the deal we had with Dye, we were using some of our guns to custom anodize them, sell them, and help support the kids line, right?
Okay.
So I came up with ideas, and we were supposed to display them at the Dye booth each event. Well, because he was selling the shop and things were going on, he's packing up. We kind of fell behind on the target date, and he didn't finish it until literally the Friday right before the event, right? So then he's flying out Saturday. Actually, he's flying out Friday night to come to the event, so I'd have it on Saturday. Well, a storm hits Houston. He never takes off.
Okay.
So the guns never make it to AC. So I never got to put them on display. Dye never got to make the commercial, which was sad because they're such beautiful guns.
Yeah.
So I moved one gun to Joel at Punishers to get it out and about. And the MXR right now is sitting with Phil, and it was on display at the USXBL. I don't know if it's sold, but they're gorgeous guns.
Yeah, they're
great
they're
quality.
really nice.
Yeah. Phil did an amazing job, him and Justin both. They
Well, that's awesome
executed
that
my
they're
vision good.
getting to focus on paintball, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, it's gotten to a point where they can just scale back from the other stuff and focus on the paintball. That seems where the passion is, at least right
Yes.
now for it. So
And now that he can get like a lot more creative, and he can focus on that. Like think about the stuff he's doing now when he was squeezing that in with other things. That's what a lot of people don't
Yeah.
understand. Like, Phil's about to change the game when it comes to anodizing in paintball. Like, I think his only person who's going to top him, and like, I mean, he knows, is going to be Caustic, right? And that's Steven. And he's literally ranked the number one anodizer in the world. Like, he does gaming keyboards, golf clubs for Jordan, stuff like that. But he's just the GOAT. Right now, I think our biggest competition in a healthy way was Ryan at ARC. His stencil work and some of his graphics, he was outsourcing. Yeah. But I think you're going to see a huge change here soon enough.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Couple days
39,
ago.
bro. 39.
Welcome
crazy.
to the club. Welcome to the club. 39 and holding for the next couple of years, I think.
We finally get to find out next year if all this talk about the 40 club and the Masters for the points thing is true. Like at half points and stuff. So we'll see.
Did they not? I thought they moved it to 45.
Did they? I don't know. I thought it was 40.
They did because Greenspan and the rest of Dynasty.
I was gonna be so happy moving back down to D5 or D4. I was like, I'm about to crush this.
I would love to go and play a Masters division at 40. That'd be dope.
I just want my points to count less. I'll take that.
Hey, if you just play woods ball, it don't matter.
But there's not enough of it. So
that's
like
true.
That me and you and the boys get together every December, but like my problem is I wanted to be in the ICPL and the classic scene so bad for, I want to say, the last 2 to 3 years. And I just don't have enough connects, or I don't know the right connects to hit up. Like, I'm willing to fly out anywhere just to try out. I mean, I'm not saying I'm good enough and you should just put me on your team. I'll come try to prove that I belong, but never been able to break that. Been a huge barrier for me, to be honest.
You know, I think it's a kind of like the pro league, right? It's a bit of a fraternity. I think the ICPL stuff is a bit of a fraternity, and kind of got to know someone that knows someone or a couple people to get a move opportunity in there, right?
And yep. And ironically, I was just talking to Jared Lackey, and I'm just practicing with them. It ain't me trying to play with them. It's like me just being behind my gun Sunday. But they rebranded their gridlock team, so they're Trauma again, and they're practicing this Sunday. So I'm going, after this wedding on Saturday, I'm going to play with them just to get some gun time. They said I can just come play around.
Yeah. So when this comes out, people will get to go back and watch John Tinker's episode, because his is coming out today, where we get into it, the rebrand.
Oh, okay. That's what's up.
For those that don't know, the short of it, T-Hump and a couple of the other guys are back in the scene. So for the ICPL, they are rebranding the Gridlock Pro spot as Trauma.
I've wanted to play with them so long. They have such a long waiting list, and they have way better people than me that have been trying to get on. So I know it never happened, but my goal was to, have a season or play on a year of a team with Jared before I'm done. And it just, I don't know.
That'd be
It
cool.
never. We'll see if we can ever get it to work out, but I don't think it.
Well, the ICPL is the place to do it. You might want to hit up Ken. See if there's a spot on Dark Carnival.
Okay. All right. I don't really know him that well, but I know of him, maybe. Like I said, I'm down to, I don't care who it is. I'm not shy. I'll come out there and try out just to try to earn a spot.
Well, you know Mark Henley.
Yeah.
So Mark's on that one.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Mark's a good dude.
Yeah. So the DC guys went down to ICPL and won it.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I guess the last event of 2024, which was in 2025. And some of those guys are going to Trauma. At this point, I don't think it's a secret. And then some of them are staying on DC, which is going to play the amateur division again.
Which is Mark staying, or is he going to Trauma?
As far as I know, Mark is staying with DC.
And that's a weird dynamic because Mark actually played for Trauma.
He did. And so did Ken, who's playing on DC. Well, Ken owns DC, I guess, in a weird way. Not a weird way. I mean, he was a founding member of Dark Carnival, but then they sold the name off for the clothing brand and all this other stuff.
Blake, and then they got it back, right?
Yeah, so my understanding of it is they sold it off for the purpose of the clothing brand to Blake, who owned Supreme, and then but they retained the right to use it as a team name. Got it. So
he doesn't even use it as a brand anymore anyway. He shut down
that brand.
Supreme.
Yeah.
Supreme was such a good headband cut.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the bulk of my headband collection.
Dog, then you have some grails. Like, there were so many bands I never could get my hands on, but the only two Supreme bands I have are Jared's signature line. And it's literally the same band, but one has blood splatter and one doesn't. So
yeah, I really liked his the blood splatter one was dope. I don't have that one, but yeah. And to be honest, the only reason I have as many as I do is because Blake coached us. So
lucky duck.
Yeah, you support the local guy, and when the local guy's coaching you, and Blake's a good dude too. So,
and I guess that's a good caveat. So, like, I've kind of said it on the page, but I don't think people truly have noticed. But I am back full time with Sandana. So
okay,
nice. Me and Mark took a break, but we're back together.
So, what were you doing with Sandana?
What I was doing, antics, creating hype, looking like I'm making drama.
All right.
But hustling bands at the events, coming up with cool ideas. I think what I've learned about me and Mark's relationship is that we push each other to be creative. Like, so the poker set at this event wasn't my idea. I had a different one. But I feel like when I come up with an idea and I'm like, yo, we need to do this, it kind of makes him think out of the box. And then sometimes he'll top me and have something totally better, which is awesome because we just feed off each other. And I think me and him both missed that. And he's seen that. And I'm glad that, he asked me to come back because, I just miss talking to him and I miss being a part of it. And I felt like I was losing on some of the cool stuff. Like right now, I'm trying to come up with a new concept for PB Fit, but made that 3-headed Hydra snake. I came up with that design. I made it, and I had Jared execute it. And believe it or not, what's not cool about this and kind of funny. When I came up with the design and the idea, I was trying to pitch it to Colt and Johnny, right? And I didn't know how to explain how I wanted the snakes. So ironically enough, and this was back in 22 or 23. They're like, well, how's it going to be placed? Stupidly said. And I didn't even mean it. I was like, hey, just think of a swastika. And I was just trying to, I swear to God, I was like, because I'm trying to get them to picture how I originally wanted the snake heads, right? And Colt was like, oh, no, absolutely not. Right. And like, basically the call ended like within a minute. Right. And they're like, you got to think of something else. But then I think because they knew how I was struggling to explain it, it kind of clicked with Johnny one day. And Johnny hit me up and he called me back. He's like, hey, man, explain to me the idea again. And I explained it. He's like, you know what? How about you just make it and show me what you're talking about? And then the deal was, at the time, Mark wasn't really sponsoring any divisional teams, and he definitely wasn't giving out any money because he just doesn't have that capability. We were only giving pro teams like, 20 bands and making bands of them. But I told them, I was like, look, I know he's not going to give it to you totally free, but I have a marketing idea. I'm going to make you your own line, your own style, and we're going to charge you bare minimum, but we're going to do this many drops, and I promise you, you can make this much out of it that will basically cover your season. And I am so happy they took a chance on me. I believe, Colt's such a good guy, but you can see how he looked at me. He's like, bro, I think you're fucking crazy, but you know what? He's like, people have been calling me crazy my whole life, so let's see if it works, right? And they took a chance, and it's been very successful. And now I think, since people have doubted them and they've done so good, I think it's time to actually rebrand it and come up with another different Sandana design to show like these boys ain't going nowhere, right?
No.
And so I'm in the process of doing something now.
Okay. And if anyone thinks PB Fit is a fluke at this point, like,
it's crazy. Crazy. And
nuts.
I seen it when everyone doubted them, bro. I seen it when everyone doubted, because remember, like, the first gimmick I did at the time was like, once we finally signed them, I was like, hey, if they win this event, the whole site's 50% off. And Mark's like, you're fucking crazy. Like, ain't no way I'm doing it. I was like, bro, just do it. And like, look, now he was doing it without me. They just won. He's like, hey, the site's 50% off today. Like, I get no credit around here, bro.
The struggles of the man behind the scene.
Yeah, but hey, listen, him and Kersey, they have taught me a lot about business. And you know what? I don't need the credit. It is their business. They're smart enough to have a guy that, like me, or see something in me, keep me around to bounce ideas off of. It's them. Like, I didn't build that. Mark did that. Mark's a hustler, and he's a good dude, and he knows business. And at the end of the day, I can't take nothing from him on that. Yeah, I came up with a snake idea design, but hell, he came up with how to take fucking Sandana from people that were in jail. You know what I'm saying? So a hustler knows a hustler, and I love his mentality, and I love his family. Sam's a good person. That's his wife and his new son, little Marky. They have a great life.
And they're pushing hard. They've geared up recently to start pushing the brand again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've seen them out at the NRPL.
Yep.
They're setting up a big booth. At least I think maybe it's not them. Would you know?
He didn't tell me about that, but I can ask.
I just know there was a big Sandana booth there.
But he took a break from pro. Like, he's not playing this year. He wants to only focus on Sandana. And so Sam she works her job, and Mark just focus on Sandana. And he does, like, I forget how you call it, but he does marketing, consulting. He does consulting work for businesses, for marketing and stuff.
Nice. I have to have him on the show.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one.
Don said you asked him to get on the show too, and he's been busy. And it was last minute, but I was like, Don, wouldn't it be a good idea if we were on there together? He's this weekend, I think, is his daughter's graduation, so he's out of town.
Yeah. Yeah, we tried after Tampa, and just had some kid stuff come up, no big deal. And then when we got past that and moved on to the next thing, I had some stuff come up where I couldn't do it. But with my situation changing, gonna have a little bit more time to like do this. So that will it'll open myself up to people that might want to do one during the day or something. So that's all I can say on that right now.
Well, I'm going to say I'm super excited for you, man.
Well, thank you.
Love people, watch them succeed and changing and growing, and life has hit me hard lately. And every day I just wake up and I keep moving forward, and things have been working out lately. But if you'd asked me even just a couple weeks ago, I would have never thought I'd be here right now.
Yeah. Well, there's a country song, and I don't listen to a lot of country, but it says, if you find yourself in hell, just keep running so you get out before the devil finds you.
Bro, those words. Yeah.
So that's been my motto for the last 2-3 years. So you just keep moving and keep that head up, because it's all about how you get up, not how you fall down. And
so last time we had this podcast, it was just all outlaw, right? And then I wasn't with Nana, wasn't with anybody. Then after that, you linked me up with Legendary Weapons. So now I was coaching that team out of Anderson, still am. Now I went from them to Filthy, and now Filthy has more Team USA kids, and I've heard of them, I've seen them, but like being around them and such good kids and watching their athleticism has been really cool. Mason and Trey, which is Tremaine, I think is how you say his actual legal first name, but they call him Trey.
Okay.
Like those boys, they're going to go somewhere. They're going to go far. And they got some good gun skills and some good fundamentals, and they can play some ball. And with Stevie and Splitty, showing them how to break down a game, and me, I guess, I won't knock myself too much, but their decision making is going to be impeccable. And those boys are going to be unstoppable. I mean, they already have the capability now, but giving them the knowledge at this early is like recognizing Mouse for who Mouse was back then, and getting on him like right away, like Mike Hinman did. But like Mike Hinman was good at seeing stuff like that, but it was just him, like who was backing him. Now, with Don and everyone else, Don's got like so many guys around these kids, giving them every single bit of anything they need, that it's just, he's built a whole camp out of it.
Yeah. And he's gone hard into it, right? I don't think, and this is what I love about Don, I don't think he knows how to dip his toe in anything.
No. And it's it's literally like BKI on steroids or any of those camps. It's just nonstop training sessions like that and he brings in pros to run clinics, and it's just over and over again. So it's like going to one of those summer camps for the kids and it never stopping. So, and that's what's made Fit successful. And he knows that. And that's why he says it. And he does it because of Fit. He's like, Fit is already giving everybody the recipe. And he says all the time, so you're stupid not to follow it. And that's what he'll say. He's like, so I'm going to practice every weekend we can. I'm going to bring everyone in, and we're going to get people behind their guns. We're going to get on the chemistry, and we're going to get on these fundamentals. And like, so they like, it sounds so minor, but they can do it. Like they harp on just one thing. You don't get penalties or you're sat, and you play clean ball, and like that's all they focus on. And look, and bro, already got 2 golds under their belts, and it's only been 2 events.
Yeah,
that's
crazy. Proof's in the pudding.
Yeah,
like throughout the whole organization. I think D5 has been in the hunt every time. I know they got second. I feel like they got second,
but they're good.
Yeah, the D4 guys won. And I can't remember where the D3 guys landed this time.
They made Sunday, but
they made Sunday.
I don't know where they landed either, but the way Don and everyone's talking, this goes to show their standard, right? They acted like it was such a devastating event for D3, and then he goes like, then we start talking. I was like, oh, so you made Sunday? He's like, yeah. I was like, then what are you talking about? It wasn't that bad. He's like, no. Like they have a standard, and they push it, son. It ain't like bare minimum they make Sunday. They don't even look at making Sunday as an accomplishment, which is crazy. To be a new camp and making Sunday is not even something you celebrate anymore. It's an expectation. That's commitment.
Well, and D3 won the Tampa event.
Right.
And I think Tampa, they won, I think they got 2 first places, a second and a third.
And they beat us in Tampa, but like I had a chance to beat them, their D4 line. It was D4 to D4. I had a chance to beat them. And part of that implosion was that match. We had a shot and we didn't go for it. And I don't know if I was too tough on those kids. They told me they wanted me to coach a certain way. I gave them that way, but it didn't turn out how I wanted. And I feel so bad, but they're such good. All those kids at Outlaw are such good kids, and they're going to be something one day too.
And that's other camp that's coming up. Like, and that they're doing the right things. I mean, Outlaw, Filthy, the Thomas Taylor kind of iconic kids.
Or not iconic kids. I was about to call them
iconic kids. They're on the come up. I know a lot of them are in the Shock organization. And I think Shock's doing a lot of cool things divisionally at the national level.
And I look at it like a generation thing, almost like freshmen in high school, because like all these camps, these kids know each other and they talk about each other like they grow up in the same neighborhood, but that's how often like they play against each other or they're around each other. Like I'm going to, I was at Filthy's camp and they were talking about, Landon and Ashton from, Outlaw camp. And then, Thomas's son was talking to Cooper from like, it's just, they all know each other. They all talk about each other. Like they're all just best friends, which is super cool. It's like the same class of people.
Well, and they all hang out online together. They all play the virtual paintball together. I know Colin from Filthy did a jersey swap with Thomas's son. So that they're all kind of cool with each other and they all hang out and
and we didn't have that back then. I mean, we kind of hung at the field, but like what they have now and what they get to experience now is nothing how we had at their age. Not even.
No, I mean, we had message boards, but everyone had a weird name on it.
We weren't flying around all over the country.
No,
either.
We were not flying around either.
Thomas's sons probably had more flights. I don't know. I don't even know. It's crazy.
They're putting on some miles for sure.
Yeah, you ain't lying.
And then, I mean, to refocus back on Filthy, like I know the South Carolina boys are going up for layout practice, and they're just staying up there until the event. So they're
which team is that one?
That's the deep.
Oh, you're talking about the Robinsons.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Part of it. I thought you were saying another team is going up there to practice them. Yeah.
I'm gonna assume TPP is gonna be back out there for layout, and they normally stay the week, but I don't have any. You probably have more insight on who's going to be out there.
Honestly,
than I would.
I'm gonna be real with you. It's happened so quickly that each day, like I'm having to text Splitty or Don's updating me because like it just happened so quick. I'm playing catch up. I don't know all the wheels that are turning, and I'm trusting the process because at the end of the day, it's Don. I know what type of person he is. I believe in what he believes in and I trust him. So like he's taken so what I did, and I'm as good as my resources, right? So I keep what I moved to camps with. So some of my boys are going to probably be coming to these camps. They're trying out. They're bringing my pieces. And so my boy called me last night and he's like, bro, I really like how Don talked and this and that. He's like, but what do I need to do at this tryout? I was like, just trust it. He's like, well, how is this going to go? I said, you're not going to know really anything until last minute. You're going to show up. Then he's going to set up how you get to where you get. You're not going to know all this ahead of time. And I was like, you just go out there and play your game, man. I know what he's looking for. You're what he's looking for. So don't overthink it and just play. I just show up where he says show up and things will work out. Don't overthink. And it's hard when you're talking to someone like me or my buddy Worm because it's like, well, he's like, bro, I don't really know how it's going to go. He's not that type of dude to leave you stranded.
No, he's not. He's a really good dude. Got to hang out with him at World Cup a good bit. And, I didn't know them from Adam when I went down there. And at one point, we need to paint for 10 man. And, work something out with a paint vendor. I won't throw anyone under a bus.
So, but that's why he's a community king, right? Like everyone forget, like that's how Hormesis really started off. It's so sad that we've gone away from that and like that culture over there has changed. But, I was the second group of community kings. He was the third group of community kings. There's a reason why Alex and Ollie picked certain people to represent their brand and name a headband after them because we did give back. We did help out and we didn't have to know you to just know what you're going through or to help you out. Like that's just who I feel like all the community kings are, even the ones that were catching slack and some of the ones that have fallen. Their hearts have always been in the right place at times. And, life is a series of decisions and consequences. And so I'll speak of something controversial that a lot of people ask me, like how I felt about Marcelo. Marcelo is a good guy. I don't think he deserved what's going on with him, but I will say this is unpopular opinion. Marcelo preaches accountability. And if you're talking to someone like me who's been through a lot, who's even when I was in the right, I was still treated wrong. And that's because of how I reacted, how I handled things. Marcelo had plenty of opportunities to pivot and change and be political to get him out of that. He chose to stand where he's at. So yes, he's a great dude. I wish he didn't go through any of that. But at the same time, that's on him, bro. Like it's accountability. You had decisions. You decided to stand on a certain thing. So I just find it hard to see all these people like saying, oh, poor Marcelo, when it's those same people that are mentors to me that told me even when I was in the right, they were like, no, it's consequences. And they gave me the harsh truth. It would even tell you, like, they would look at me like, yes, you're right. It was wrong, but you shouldn't have acted that way. You shouldn't have said those things. We told you not to do those things. So this is your consequences. How is that not the same thing? And he teaches nothing but accountability to these paintballers. And so at the end of the day, this is on you, bro.
Yeah.
He could have still stuck by his boy and still done it differently. And people told him that, and he did it. So cool.
Yeah, I think the issue when it regards just around Marcelo, right?
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah, I
will
think he
never
is a
take that
good
from him.
dude. Yeah, that there's plenty of people in the community that stood up for him. I feel like he waited a little long to address it, which I also think is forgivable because like that scenario you want to come out and say what you want to
Clear and
say.
concise.
Clear and concise, right? So like you didn't need to say something right away. Like it's okay to take a step back and be like, oh shit. I think the way he worded his initial, whatever you want to call it, press release was ill-advised, to say the least.
And I could be wrong about the chronological order of this, but how I have perceived it and how I've been told, rumor mill, when Bart from Edmonton Impact tried to save him and got that PR firm, if that's true, that was even after that comment and that stance.
Okay.
So he still had a chance to come out on top, and he chose to, in my opinion, this is my opinion, I have no facts for this, it felt like he doubled down on it, no different than Dan. And, I watched Dan's video the other day, and my buddy Little Corey was like all upset. He's like, bro, why aren't you mad that he said this and that? And I was like, bro, because I did what Marcel and everyone else asked. Like, I don't like a lot of his views, but I listened to him for what he said. And there was a few points he made that were like accurate, right? So he says he hates supremacy, right? He says he hates Nazis. Does it mean he hates all Nazis? He said, I hate, neo-Nazis and KKK, but does that mean I hate every white person? And that was a good point, right? He's like, I hate any type of supremacy from any race. That doesn't mean I hate the race. And I was like, you should have just said that at the beginning with less hostility and less cussing, and I think people would have accepted it more. But he's right on how soft the world's gotten, because like when I was fighting for me, like I was told I was being soft and I needed to like harden up and needed to, take consequences stuff. So I get his point. He shouldn't have to over-explain that. But the fact that you are famous and you're trying to bring a light to our sport or his sport and be an advocate for us, I guess you had to understand how your words would affect some people. And it sucks because he's right. A lot of other people would have got away with saying that stuff and it wouldn't have been a big deal. Or like how he brought up, you know what? I never saw the gun, but you know what else I thought was funny? He's absolutely right. Why did we let Planet Eclipse slide with making a Confederate flag gun? I didn't know that. And like, there's a lot of things he brought up, and like, true, I find it weird that we're taking stances on certain things and not others, which is garbage. And I thought I was doing the right thing by not, I didn't actively talk crap about Dan, but I took a stance against him and being like, yeah, because I do have a buddy who's Jewish, but I'm like, as a black person, we always say, silence is acceptance, right? And we always want people to stand up for us through our tough times. I said, so I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't back people with Jewish culture or Jewish backgrounds or families that they're going through this, and I don't say no, it's wrong. You're talking about something they went through that was hurtful, and I'm going to back them just like I would want them to back us. But and then he started talking about different things about other races that were went through genocide, his own race, and then he mentions at the end like he's part Jewish, and I'm like, bro, like there's so many out. But you know what I liked about him? He said at the end, he's like, just because I'm Jewish doesn't give me. He's like, I think it's bullshit. You shouldn't get a pass on saying something because you're part of that culture. And he meant like, black people saying the N-word or doing whatever. And then, him being a Jew, he should be able to say that. I think it's kind of cool that, I'm not agreeing with his message. I don't like it at all. But I think it's kind of cool that he left out the fact that he's part of that culture while bashing it, because he wanted to stand on his beliefs and not say, oh, I could do this because of such and such, which it shows that he doesn't feel entitled. You know what I'm saying? Which is kind of cool. in its own sense, but it's just very controversial. And
Yeah, I mean,
Ryan Greenspan said it best, and it just sucks.
yeah, I watched a portion of the interview. I think Zizek did a phenomenal job. Like, first of all,
he
very
can read
calm
people.
and collected. Paintball Nerd, if for some reason you have found this channel and not found Paintball Nerd, I don't know what you're doing. But
I didn't realize how good at reading people he was, and very articulate, and uses the right words, kind of moved things forward, kind of brought things back. He stopped him from making himself look worse at times. He really helped him in ways that I don't even know if Dan knows, but like, again, Dan said he pretty much doesn't care anyway how people view him, which is in his own mind a little bit of freedom. That's what America's about. Like, I would love
true.
to get to a point where I don't care what people think about me and it doesn't affect my life, but unfortunately I'm not that successful.
Yeah. Takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of money. Yeah. So I think Isaac did a great job with the interview. I said Isaac. Zizek did a great job with the interview, first of all.
I actually didn't know his real first name, so I can't correct you. I just know him as Paintball Nerd.
Yeah. As far as the politics, obviously, I do not agree with it. I did find it was interesting that the paintball community decided to stand on this. And I'm not saying you have two wrongs and you need to balance it, but like, to act like this is the first time we've had a hate symbol on a paintball gun just isn't factual. Like you mentioned, the Planet Eclipse did an ego with the Confederate flag on it.
I never knew that.
And they aren't the first. Like, I don't want to say anyone because I don't have it for sure, but I know there were other gun companies that have done Confederate flag guns. And now that was during, probably the early 2000s. It was a little bit more
acceptable then.
Acceptable, right?
Yeah.
It's also not the first time someone's had a Nazi gun done.
Yeah, I didn't think so either.
Like
HK had like some products with the SS, but it's
also
interesting that some of those symbols people don't realize stood for other things before the Nazis got a hold of it.
Yeah, and the history of the swastika comes from India, meaning peace,
and it doesn't mean rising. Yeah, I mean it's like to symbolize rising sun or something like that.
Yeah,
there's crazy.
There's a whole thing. I think once, unfortunately symbols can be corrupted, and once it's been corrupted to a certain point, it's hard to go back with those symbols. From a history teacher perspective, and I primarily focus on ancient history. I do not do World War II / like more modern history, but there are some problematic things with Dan's beliefs that he leaves out outside of the basis racism stuff.
It's easy to ignore the bad and only focus on the little bit of good, but it's
so there's a lot of half truths that were spewed there. There were a lot of full truths that were spewed there, but one tragedy does not diminish a other tragedy. So
100%. 100% agreed.
We'll just take Stalin, for example, why he's in there. Stalin in the communist Russia killed more people. Yes. It wasn't solely focused on one race, which it doesn't change the fact that he killed more people. It's still a horrible thing. Both can be horrible things, and they both just become horrible things at the end of the day.
And they're just both unacceptable.
Yeah.
So you just didn't bring up the other thing. So we don't have to fight against that right now.
It doesn't make something more acceptable because someone else did a really bad thing too.
And that's true growth when you start realizing that. They try to teach us that as we're kids. 2 wrongs don't make a right, but it's like we didn't understand the gravity of what that truly meant. And it just means like just stop comparing your wrong to another wrong to justify your wrong.
Yeah.
That's what it means. Like they rebrand how you say that, and I probably would have got it as a kid with my ADD. I didn't understand 2 wrongs don't make a right. I think I'm defending myself and standing up for myself, and it's no. There's a way to stand up for yourself and not be the same person or type of person you're fighting against. And that's what Paintball Nerd did a good job of. And honestly, if given the chance and Marcelo got to address it how he wanted, he would have done the same thing. And he was trying to tell people that. He's like, I want to be able to talk to people about their beliefs in a safe platform and learn and grow from them in the same way they can learn and grow from us, because hate on hate isn't going to get either one of us to evolve if one of us is wrong. And that's a good point.
It's a great point.
Like, because I didn't like the podcast at all, but I can't lie to you and say I didn't learn something from watching Dan's thing the other day. I learned a couple different things, and then I had to go research some stuff. So stuff can, and that goes back to when I was in the fire department, right? My mentor, before he took his own life, he taught me, he's like, some of your biggest lessons are going to come from other people's failures and bosses and managers that aren't good, because you could always learn from everybody. And he says, for example, if you think he's got nothing to offer you because he's not going nowhere and he's a bad person, that's who you need to focus on the most, because you need to critique everything you don't like about it, everything you think is wrong, and learn how to never be that way, never do that. And those are going to be some of the biggest lessons ever. And so that opened my eyes to, you can learn from anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, you really can.
Anybody.
Even if you don't like them, you can learn from them for sure. Well, enough about that.
Yeah, let's talk about stuff. Yeah, on a positive note. So the paintball community at AC though did remind me of the camaraderie and the family I was missing through some of my dark times, what I was going through. I showed up to AC and had no clothes whatsoever.
Really?
I left my bag. I had no underwear, no socks, no shirts, no pants, no nothing. I was in my scrubs from work. I literally left work and drove straight to AC. And so, believe it or not, I went to hide to fit, and JD hooked me up with clothes and socks. And then I went with, basically free of charge. I had no cleats either. And then I walked over to Evil Booth, which is our sponsor, one of our sponsors with Outlaw. And he hooked me up with a whole bunch of shirts and shorts. And it reminded me that people really do have your back in this sport, whether you believe it or not. And so we just need to focus on the love, and we'll get through anything pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. Think you got to focus on the good stuff. You got to acknowledge the bad stuff. You can't pretend it's not there, right? But you don't need to focus on it. That's awesome. They hooked you up. We're over 41 interviews now with the show.
Bro, you've been crushing it. You're doing such a good job.
And anytime JD comes up, he is spoken in nothing but good light in the whole paintball fit community. But overall, like, it's really highlighted like how positive and how much we take care of each other, like all over the places. And we start the show talking about scammers and stuff. Like, that happens and it sucks, but like the majority is good people.
Do you know, and I never broadcasted it because I just didn't want to be that guy, but how funny and ironically enough, how I became friends with Eli and Nick, and then later on James, is because, so you remember I think it was 2022, maybe 21, Tropic was robbed. I guess they were out like eating or something, and they had all their gear bags in the back of a pickup truck, and they were robbed.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
I didn't know them at all. I literally looked at Corey Field, because at the time, I was with Corey. I said, hey, man, obviously, I've been robbed several times at NXL throughout the years. I know how it is. This is a young team. I would like to do something with them. He's like, okay, cool, whatever. So why are you telling me? Because, Corey always wants you to like speak it all out. He wants you to go through the wheels. I was like, well, I would love to reach out to some of our sponsors, see if they'll give me discounted stuff or some free stuff. I can send them and reach out to some of our other contacts. And he's like, you have my full permission. So at the time, I reached out to Dye, got some loaders, reached out to Punisher's Paintball. They hooked me up with some gear bags. They didn't even charge me for the gear bags. And I started just piecing stuff together and getting protective gear and stuff like that. And I sent them 3 complete gear bags with stuff in it for each of the players.
Oh, that's dope.
That's how we became friends. And I told him when like Eli hit, and we were talking about it, it's just the other day. I was like, hey, don't tell anybody I sent you that, and don't worry about it. And you ain't got to thank me. And I was like, I just want y'all to keep doing great things. And I didn't want them to give up on the sport. It's just the same thing like Marcel and everybody. I was trying to be a steward of the sport. I know I was a D5 player and I just had all my stuff robbed. I'm probably not coming back to the next event. You know what I'm saying? So I just didn't want to see a team that looked like they had a lot of potential. They were already winning. They were new, to just quit. And that's all I saw it as. And so I said I wanted to help them, and I got 3 amazing friends out of that. And I can't thank God enough for allowing that to happen, because Eli is a great guy. So is James and Nick, and I can't imagine not having them as friends right now.
Man, I like that. That's a cool story. And losing a gear bag can definitely force someone out. Like when you think about the amount of money, even if it's in a gear bag,
I almost quit when that Aztec photo guy stole all my Hormesis bands and Sandana bands at, I think it was Philly. I can't even remember what event it was years ago. And I knew he took them, like, because it's just how he turned them in. And then you remember he got himself caught because he did a photo shoot, posted on Instagram with some hockey players years later. And they're wearing the bands he said he never saw. So he ended up having to return the bands and we all roasted him. But I was like, bro, I knew you'd eventually get caught. But like, I lost so much, like, and that was just one of the 5 times I was robbed. Like, I wanted to quit so many times, but paintball's my stress relief, and it was my outing. It was my out of real world, and I couldn't give up that out because I didn't have another hobby at the time.
Yeah, I've been I'm lucky I've never been robbed from, inside paintball that I know of. We've had pro shops broken into, kind of hard to prove if it's a paintball guy or not.
Right. You were talking about some of your guns that you were like fascinated with that you worked on, but didn't get technically own, was supposed to own. You've had some great shows. I've learned a
Thank
lot.
you.
And you know what's funny? I've been in the sport long, not as long as some of y'all. And when I see y'all talking about certain guns and stuff, that I have to go back and research it. I don't even know anything about those. So I've actually learned quite a bit from you and some of these others you've been interviewing about.
I've been lucky. I got some old heads that have come on and really just shared their time. I think Ken, Rob, John, both Johns, Tinker and Blanco.
I can't wait to watch that Tinker episode. I'm gonna watch that on the way to go to Corey as soon as I get off here. It's gonna be dope.
3:00 today, man. 3:00 today.
I want to do a shout out to everyone you have had on there. Like, I appreciate all y'all for taking his invite, and thank you for sharing all y'all's, because I've learned so much that I didn't know, and it's expanded my knowledge, and it was delightful to learn your history and you teach me. And so shout out to all your guests. They were all amazing.
Definitely. Yeah. I've been very fortunate, and this thing's grown way quicker than I ever thought it would. So I did not think, a little over 3 months in, we'd have 1,000 followers on the Instagram page and stuff like that. Like, I thought this was going to be a long, hard crawl up to some like that kind of milestone. And I just couldn't be more appreciative of the people that come on and the community for kind of getting behind it. And like the folks at, the leagues, anytime I tag a league, they share the stuff.
Good dudes actually succeed. I know a lot of people think they don't, and like, that's why you're a great dude and your stuff succeeding. And no matter what people put us through, no matter how people portray us, because that's happened to me recently in the paintball community, which we're all lies. If you're a good person, you'll get through it, and you'll get through it with a better light. The way that some of those people were dragging me recently, you would have never thought that now I'm at the camp that I am now, prospering and people believing in me. And it's a testament to, like, sometimes putting your head down and just continuing to move and focus on yourself is the move, even though you want to stick up for yourself and fight. It's just not working. So I'm happy to see people like you just make it, because it just reaffirms that God is real and positive wins. Positivity wins.
And that is a huge compliment from you, because I think you're one of the most positive people in the sport. You love the sport.
A lot of people don't think that, though. A lot of people don't.
Like, if you don't like Norris, I'm going to say there's something wrong with you.
There's a lot
because
of them,
he's the most positive dude, the most honest dude. Maybe that's why you don't like him. Okay. That I know in the sport, sure. That's like someone not liking Josh Conley. Like,
yeah, well, it's kind of different, because like
you're to me.
And good people. So, and that's that my mom tried to tell me that, right? And she tried to tell me at a younger age. She said, Norris, because of ADD and who you are in your heart, she's like, people are going to love you or hate you. And the people that are going to hate you aren't going to understand how you act and you talk. And they got to see past that to see your heart. And all my best friends will tell you that, like, because I am blunt, or I'll say things a certain way, or I don't like put it in a certain package with the delivery, you think I'm harsh, you think I'm an asshole. And that's not even what mean. Like I still would give that person the shirt off my back, but it was my delivery. So I still had at 39, I'm still learning and growing, right? What's good about Josh is Josh always had that right temperament, that the sound of his voice, his delivery. And so Josh has always had the same type of heart as me, but he appears and looks more genuine, which is, I know that might kind of sound like a backhand compliment, but it's not. He is just a good dude, and he sounds like a good dude right off the bat, so people don't perceive him the wrong way initially, right? Sometimes it's perception. And that's what I hate about perception. Perception is everything. You learn that in every field, teaching field, nursing field. And it's like, bro, why am I getting in trouble because he saw what I did and perceived it to be something negative when it wasn't? And like, that's what I don't hate about perception. I can't control someone else's perception, but you can put your best foot forward and try to give them the best perception. But at the same time, if they come at it at a different time stamp, or they come in the middle of a conversation with somebody else, or they see something from a distance the wrong way, then you're just labeled as the bad guy. And so I didn't understand, like, even as an adult, that it's still my Achilles heel.
Look, that's something I struggle with. I'm not gonna lie, that's something I struggle with. I did this because of that, and I know it looked this way, but the reason is good. So I think that's something a lot of people struggle with, though.
But they're better at hiding it or controlling it or whatever else, and I'm just not.
You're a natural hype man, though. Like, that's like such a skill set.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
The double-edged sword is sometimes people have a different perspective or perception of you. So, so going into what we've covered.
But reverting back to Filthy, so getting there, Don and his perception. So the good thing is when people love me, they see it in me and they believe in me. And so like I haven't even been in there a whole week yet, and me and Don are already working on projects for Filthy, the branding and everything else. And I've already got the ball moving with some of these companies because I am that quick, and he sees that in me. And I like being around someone who lets me cook and understands how I work. And Don likes results fast, and he likes them done right, and he knows I was that type of dude. And so it's fun being able to do things like that.
Yeah. Well, and you two are a really good match because he does go full throttle with stuff and you go full throttle with stuff. So you're going to get a lot done really quick.
I've shocked myself some of the projects I've started in the last 48 hours. I'm not even going to joke to you. Like we'll talk about it when this stuff stops, but because I don't want to leak his stuff, but it is insane.
Well, and he's doing a lot of cool stuff.
Yes.
Hey, the jersey designs are killing it, but I really like the old school pants he put out in collaboration with Leverett.
Oh yeah. I haven't tried those on. He gave me some khaki ones that like literally I sometimes I've been wearing them outside of the house as pants. Like they're just I don't know. I love them.
Yeah.
They feel great.
What I like about those is they remind me of the old JT pants. Like they're the same fabric. And like you said, you wear them outside the house. Like we used to go out in our JT plain pants because they looked like normal work khakis.
Okay, so yes, agreed. Yes, because that's how I felt. I'm like, bro, I can put some boots on with this and a regular shirt. No one would even know. And they
no
feel
one's gonna bat
amazing.
an eye.
And I was like, and I'm all excited. I'm like, I love this Velcro. I'm a grown man, dog. I love this Velcro. Like, what are you doing, dog? Put on a belt, loser.
And then, shout out to the Field Quick Shot Speedball up in New Jersey. Just redid the turf on one of the fields. Right, the night ball's going in.
I think they started that. I don't know, but that field is amazing. And he's got some guys that are about to set up cameras where he can start streaming any day of the week, and he wants to start portraying this field daily, kind of like Fit does, because in a healthy competitive stuff. He's like, I want people to see my field because everyone loves Fit. And he's like, no offense to Fit. He's like, but my fields are nicer. And he's not lying. The work he put into raising it up and the fill he put underneath and how it drains quick. Bro, he has done an amazing job, and he's put so much money into the field. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
his stadium lighting, the raised field, the air stations where they're at. It's the little things. The little things matter, and
they do.
We've heard it our whole lives, and he shows it. because he is a animal with his OCD about the little things. It's always about the fine details with Don. He does not let it slide. He brings it up quickly, and he doesn't let you just skate over nothing. He's like, what about this? Explain to me this. Every time he'd ask me something, he's like, well, how do you feel about today? He's like, no. I asked you how you feel about today. How do you think the guys are going, not how you perceive them taking it. It's just the man's mind is incredible.
I would put money that that organization will have a pro team in 3 years.
His goal is to have it in 2.
Okay. Well, then mine's
to
a
have it
safe
in
bet.
2. I don't know, but what's cool about his goal and his vision is he really does take it step by step. Even though that's his goal, he's not thinking like, okay, how do I get it done? He's like, all right, well, how do I get my D2 line? How do I get my semi-pro line? Because right now he backs Wrecking Crew, right? So they're a semi-pro team, and he's a huge backer of Leverage. And Don's such a good guy that he doesn't want to step on Wrecking Crew's feet. He's like, he said, those are my guys until they're out of the semi-pro scene. He's like, but I do want my own branded semi-pro team. He's like, so I'll get there. He's like, but I'm gonna be patient. I don't want to rub anybody the wrong way because I appreciate them helping me build my camp and help my players learn. He's like, so out of respect, I'm always gonna just back them and not step on their toes and give them unnecessary competition. And like that just speaks testament to who.
Yeah, it really does. So, and he's putting everything into place. Like,
Super early too, which like that's what matters.
Yeah.
He's foreshadowing it. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna need this in such time, so let's just grab it now. Let him mold with these people, and it will be more magical when it's time for him to do that job. He'll already be in the right spot, right? It's like knowing you're going to need that guy, bringing that guy in early, and so when you need him, he's probably already fixed your problem before you need him. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Well, and
But
what
that's
I
how he's built successful businesses, though.
Yeah. And like he could have gone out and bought a semi-pro line essentially, but he's choosing to build, and I think that's it's sustainable. It's a PB Fit model. I think it's the right way to do it. So better watch out for Filthy if they aren't on your radar already. They should be.
Him and Splitty both have a high standard, and like they wouldn't even let some of my guys come try out. Like if you can't commit, like so they need help for Cincinnati. And if you're going to Cincinnati, like all of us have already had prior commitments, so I had to like kind of like cut some of my commitments with them to get out there this Sunday. And then other people were supposed to be playing Dub C, and we've all had to like back out of actual commitments because it's like he's like, no, either you come here all these weekends and you start growing and being with the team and making this magic now, or you can try out after this event and you hope I don't already fill a spot. He said, but anybody who comes now is going to buy into the system, and you're going to be a part of the system, and you're going to grow as a family, because he's huge about culture. And what he calls his culture, I'm not going to talk about it, which is great because these are all things I hope he comes on your show and talks about.
Yeah.
It's awesome, the culture he brings and what his words, his culture. I don't even know how to describe it, but yes, he sticks by it, and he built a certain culture, and it's amazing. It's amazing to see. It's amazing to hear about. It's amazing to learn.
Nice. Well, man, I know you got to drive. I got some stuff I got to do. Why we're doing it in the morning. We're right above an hour. I think we had a good one. And I'm going to have you back on. It's an open invitation.
My favorite podcast now, man. And I guess it's because I'm on it, but like I love it. I love learning from you and your other guests, and I appreciate you, and I feel very honored that you think I'm worth having.
And hey, shout out Order 66 real quick, who you were also a guest on.
Yes, that's a good show.
Big fan of that guy. Me and him have gone back a couple times. He asked to come on the show, or message me about doing a collab, which early on, which I think was so dope of him to see a new podcast come in and be like, hey, I want to like help out. Because like at that time, like him coming on helped me way more than I helped him. Right.
And you helped me, bro. Like both of y'all did. Like you put a spotlight on me, and like so many positive things have happened and probably kept me out of some dark places because of our last episode. And I didn't want to dive into that, but like you saved me, bro.
I'm glad I was there, man. So good people deserve good things, and you're good people. Period. But just super stoked to have this opportunity, and if I didn't have this, like me and you, we'd probably chat a little bit online, and we'd see each other in December or when I get around to going to NXL. So like this has been really fun just to stay more plugged in with the community in a way that I never was before. And
You're
like
meeting
I get so much out of it. And I will say some of the shows that I'm going to, like scratching my head, like I don't know how this is gonna go, are some of the best shows. It's been really cool getting to know the community more. So we're gonna keep rocking it.
You're doing amazing work. You're helping more people than you know, bro.
Oh, thank you.
Everyone that watches, like they're gaining something from it. You're either helping their career in paintball or you're helping them as a person, and you're doing the right thing.
Thank you. Well, shout out who you want to shout out, and we'll take this
So
thing off.
as always, like we'll start off with Outlaw. They Outlaw Anodizing. Please check them out if you ever need anything anodized. Die Paintball, great sponsor. JT GI, also a great sponsor, and the new camp Filthy. Don Colomesta and the whole Filthy camp and Wrecking Crew. Thank you for this opportunity. I do not take it lightly, and I am excited to learn and grow with your organization.
Perfect. We'll see you next time on the Planet Paintball podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to the Planet Paintball podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Whether you're out there grinding in the divisional pits or chasing dreams on the pro stage, remember, it's all about the passion, the hustle, and the love for the sport. Shout out to 1023 Sportswear for sponsoring the show. Don't forget to use code Planet Paintball at checkout for 20% off your order. Gear up, save big. Until next time, keep grinding, keep growing, and we'll see you back here on the Planet Paintball podcast